It's a nice sunny Friday afternoon. We're all at home, but it's pretty sunny, so makes me happy to see that life is still going on outside and hopefully inside. Hope you're all doing well. It's a nice sunny Friday. Hello, YouTube people. Good to meet you all. Hello, YouTube. How are you? I can't see you all, but happy to meet you. Hope you're doing well. I'm gonna just make sure that everyone is here. We're already 100 and there are people trying to enter the room. Can't believe it's 2 and the full room is packed. All right, hi Karine. Hi Emna. Hi Kim Martin. Nice to meet you. I don't know if we've ever met before. Hi Lina, Hannah, Maral. Hello. Smirthy. Okay. Cool. We're gonna start in a couple of minutes. Just gonna make sure that everybody is settled in and you guys have your material ready. I can see you're already full on. I'm also almost ready. I'm also almost ready. I'm actually very ready. I'm not almost ready. Okay, I'm going to put it on full view for people on YouTube to see me. Okay. We're going to start in the coming 2 minutes. It's 2:03. We'll start at 2:05. Is that fine with everyone? Good. Okay. All right, everybody. I think we're good. So I was saying, unfortunately, the limit of Zoom is only 100 participants. And I've also increased it. It's usually 20 participants and I've increased it to 100 already. And there are still people knocking at the door. I'm really sorry, but everyone that's not able to enter and you have friends that you know are trying to come in, just guide them through the YouTube channel. I've posted some ads that say that, but maybe some of you didn't see it. But in any case, they won't get lost. They'll just write me a message and I think they'll join us through YouTube. So YouTube people, good to have you with us. We'll communicate through Zoom and I would be very happy to see what you've done at the end through artworks that you send me. So we're gonna start just now. Okay, so for those of you who don't know me, my name is Angela and I'm the host at Let's Paint Now. It's a painting program that runs classes every Friday, 2 to 4 every week. We have a new theme weekly, so I pick the themes depending on what is going on in the world or what are the fun events that we can highlight. So today's theme is Mother's Day because past 10th of the month was Mother's Day. So I thought it would be interesting to do something for all the mothers in the world, and thank them for always being with us in the hardest situations. I'm also one of them. I hope one day my kids will paint something cool for me and say, "Thank you, mom, you did it." So, this is also the last week of Ramadan. For those of you who are celebrating, happy Ramadan, and hope you're all doing well, are healthy and safe in this situation. So we're in for a 2-hour ride. We're going to be painting this beautiful painting that you also see back there, because I've done this as a big painting first. Because when we used to run real classes, I've tested it to see if it's going to work and if it looks nice. But obviously I've done it again right here for today's class. So we're going to go over the steps in a bit, but I just want to take you through the technical stuff quickly of how Zoom functions and the technical aspects, so we're sure that everybody is happy and you don't get frustrated with the technicality. Obviously, you're all muted, and I know that you've probably realized that. You cannot talk because we're 100 in the room, and I'm saying 100 is per household, and I believe there's many of you in each houses, so that could be about 200 people. If I just open the mic and allow you guys to talk, then it's going to make too much noise for everyone else, and I will not be able to answer. But for that, I have a solution. You have a chat box. It says chat on the bottom, where some of you are already telling me hi. So please go to the chat box and write me any question or any message that you have. When the class is running, I'll be constantly checking and looking at what your questions are, and I'll be answering them. And it would be great because everyone can see the chat box, so everyone can actually make use. Hi, Serena. So everyone can make use of this chat box and see the answers. Okay, I'm really good, Bavika. Hello, Mia. How are you? So basically, let's paint now. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook, and we've freshly opened a YouTube account where we'll be posting also some tips and tricks. And where actually today's class is live as well there. So if you haven't subscribed yet, follow us, like us, and subscribe to the page to keep constantly updated on what the latest paintings are. Another thing that I would like to tell you is while you're drawing and painting, you get excited, but don't forget to take pictures, because I cannot follow up closely to each and every one of you. So if you cannot take the picture, just ask someone next to you to take a picture of you two, or of the setup, or of anything. I always love the time that I spend when I shut my computer off after the class and I just sit, relax, and go through all your artworks. Another thing, though, the number has been increasing, the number of participants, so it's going to be a bit hard for me to give feedback to each and every one of you or repost the paintings. I'm going to see how I'll manage it for this week, but it's really being very overwhelming. But I promise you, I will see all of them, and I will make a sign to you and reply on those messages. So yeah, so just about reposting, I'm not sure that I'll be able to actually repost every single one of you's paintings. That's like 100 times another 100, another 100. So that's me all week reposting paintings. All right, so I think I've gone through all that I wanted to tell you. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Can't wait to do this lovely painting with you guys, and let's get going. Okay. All right, so I'm just gonna quickly go over the material that we have. I've written in the list of material to have a couple of brushes. What I usually use when I run the classes is a set of actually 3 brushes. Okay, I said a couple of brushes, but I usually use 3 brushes. So a big one and a medium one. So that's the big one right here, a medium one. And I also use a small one, which would be roughly the size of this guy right here. Okay. I tend to call them Papa Bear, Mama Bear, and Baby Bear because I just like it. You can call them small, medium, and baby. It's up to you, but I'll be using mainly these 3 brushes. So if you have even 2 out of these, so one big and one very small, we're in good position, okay? The reason why we need at least 2 different thicknesses is because we're gonna do more rough and raw kind of big surfaces, and then we're gonna go into detailed stuff. That's why we do need the smaller brush. Okay, so now we're gonna go and see how the painting looks like. So this is how the finished product is supposed to be looking. Basically, if we break it down, you have a beautiful background that is a gradient of colors. that we will be working on as a first step. And then later on, what we will be doing, we are going to kind of plant our flowers. So doing the stem and then the flower bud on top. The thing that's really special about these flowers is that they have this nice black outline that you can see around it. You even see it around the flower here. Well, in fact, once we will be done with the background, at first we are going to draw the whole scenery of the flowers, but just in black. So it's going to look like a great gradient in the background, and everything is going to be like a shadow. You're not gonna really know what it is. And once that is done, we're gonna leave it to dry, wait a little bit. Meanwhile, we're gonna be building our colors. We're gonna making some purple and some green, some lime yellow and all that. And only when we're sure that the black is dry, we're gonna go over it with some colors, okay? Let's get going. So first off, some people asked me after the class how I do this. There's nothing magic in it. It's a piece of paper stuck with a washi tape. It's called washi tape. So these are paper tapes that don't tear the paper apart when you actually remove it. Sometimes it does. You can make them, you can use the regular tape as well. You just need to make sure that half of it is covered on the paper and half of it is on the table, so the whole thing doesn't move and it's stuck quite well so that the color doesn't actually go underneath the page. It helps me kind of hold the whole thing together and make the painting. So I'm going to plus my brushes, place them here, and I'm going to put the original one standing next to me so that we can actually have a look sometimes when I open the other camera. So to wake up a brush, we plunge the brush into the water. So I'm going to start first off. The brushes were the most important. I'll take you through the colors in a bit. I have a paper towel right here also to remove excess of water and paint. There we go. So I'm going to put my brush in the water. So that's how, first off, I'm going to wake my brush up. I'm using Papa Bear, which is our big brush right here. You can all see, okay? So we're going to dip Papa Bear into the water and leave him a little bit so that the hair can kind of become moist and we can easily paint with it. Meanwhile, we're going to go and grab some paint. The first color that I'm going to be pouring, and I'm going to plug it right here because I've already used some, is yellow color, okay? So just place some yellow color on one side of your paper. The second color, obviously, that we will be needing is red because our gradient is going to go from yellow all the way to red. So grab some red color as well and put it just right here. Another color that I might use, I'm not really sure that I will need it, but it's always good to have a little bit of it on the side, is a bit of white. And I'll tell you later on why we might need it. And finally, as far as you can from the rest, you're going to be opening some black paint. So I'm going to add a bit of black, but as far as you can from the family of strong colors. All right, so let's get this going. So we're going to obviously start with the yellow color, but I just want you to visualize where this Mr. Sun is going to sit. If you check my original painting, it's as if you split the canvas into 4 parts, okay? And the sun is going to fall in the right top corner, which is right here. So the circle is roughly in this area. You can do it a bit higher, lower. It's literally up to you. But one thing that's really important to see is I didn't use black. I didn't use white color to make this circle. What I actually did is I left it white from the color of the canvas itself. So the genius of what we're going to do right now is we're going to be tracing a circle and making sure that the white remains white. That is the white of the paper. So I'm going to be dipping the paint, the brush actually in my paint, and making sure that I have enough yellow on both sides. I'm going to be answering to your questions in a bit. I actually do that from one indication to the other so I don't stop the flow of the class. So I want my sun to be roughly around here. And as you know the location, try to make like circle motion with your hand to be sure that you're going to be doing a circle. If it's not a flat brush, it's also good. We could have done it easily with a brush that is a round brush, like just like this one. Both are as good. And you're going to be making a circle around it without touching the center of it. So by thinking that there is an area in the middle that is painted with white that we're not going to touch. Just like this. You don't need to make it in one shot because we're not old Picasso or Van Gogh for that matter. So you can adjust it as much as you want and it's totally fine. And there you go. Okay. So now I have my circle, and that circle is the white circle of the paper, and I'm quite happy with it, and I've painted it with yellow. Right now, the secret is going to be about evolving from this yellow all the way to the dark red we have over here. So if you look at the painting itself, we are going to be slowly starting with the yellow. As you reach here, we're going to be injecting some red in it, which is going to give us an orange tint. Don't go start again. I'm going to teach you how we're going to do those lines. I'm just showing you where we're going. Once you're done with the orange, you're going to inject more red into it, which is going to give us this vibrant red area. And then at the very end, we're going to inject some black in it, but like super tiny drop of black, which is going to give us this darker shade of black. So the strokes, how are the strokes made? As you can see, they're not clean and they're not smoothened. They're like little strokes of lines made like this, and that go all around the sun. So basically, it's as if you're constantly rolling around the sun, but by making these little lines. I'm going to obviously start with the yellow, and you can start right now just with me doing them. The idea of doing this is going to give it this kind of shiny feel, and it's going to look like as if the sun is really radiating the light instead of having a very peaceful and smooth sun. We really want that heat aspect to it. So it's basically lines. Just if I show you a bit further, it's lines, and I'm holding my hand quite far, and I'm just doing very light-handed strokes, just like this. Okay? And you're going to continue doing this, I believe, as long as you're kind of going to reach the corner of the page on the right top end. So once you've reached the corner, it means you've reached the moment of injecting a second color. Another important thing that I didn't tell you, but I wanted to, is to constantly make sure that the ratio of water in your paint is good, because or else the colors are never going to blend together. So here we are. We're at a stage where I'm quite happy with my level of yellow, and I will start injecting red. I'm going to constantly repeat the information. So it's okay if we're not all at the same place. I'm going to repeat the same thing, guys, a million times. So you are going to get almost bored from me doing so. I just want to put the chat. You're doing it with the crayon. Okay. I'll tell you. So basically what I did, I went back with my Papa Bear and I took a little bit of red paint, not too much. If there's too much, I can remove the excess. And I'm going to blend the orange directly on the canvas. Yellow paint is not yet dry. So by doing these little strokes with the red and the white and the red and the yellow on the canvas itself, you can still go grab some yellow, right? Because we're blending them. You're going to have this very nice heat looking like strokes that are going to be all around the sun. Just be careful not to get too close to the sun, because we don't want it to kind of go into the full yellow area, because I like the yellow area. So just make sure you don't go too close to the sun. And if you do, again, I have a solution for you, so don't worry too much. So I'm building the orange area, again, adding those strokes. I'm going to have a bit more red right here, because the idea is that I'm blending the colors directly on the canvas. So you have to be careful not to add a lot of red straight ahead, because it just doesn't give you the same control over the colors. So add it slowly. If you feel your brush is not clean enough, you constantly go back and wash it with some paint. There's something I want to teach you here. You can see that I did the yellow and I reached, and then there's some red right here. When you have such a situation, the best way to actually combine them together is to first have a clean brush, just like here. I washed it, and then go back to the lightest color of the two. In this case, it's going to be my yellow, and then blend it with the orange or with the red. Because the other way around would not work, and it's going to have to push the orange all the way to the center. But like this, I kind of win the situation because I'm going from the lightest shade to the darkest shade, and the blending is really smooth. Okay, so now I'm fully entering my orange kind of area. Don't forget the little corner on top as well. That also will have to have some orange gradient. So there you go. I'm getting a bit closer to the sun. Don't worry if it's a bit close. I'm going to show you also, again, the same technique which we did right over here with the orange. And I'm going to show you how we can actually dim this kind of stroke and balance things in a way that there's no cut between the orange and the yellow. There you go. I've injected some orange in it. And I'm quite happy that it's not too red at the corner yet, because it's really, really strong. Maybe just a little bit on the corner at the very, very end, like just like this, just to say that it's the same sun radiating everywhere. You can see some granulations on my page. That means that there's not enough water. The moment you feel that the page is doing granulations, it means that the water level is not enough. What do you mean by a patch? Could you explain to me what a patch is? And I'll let you know what to do. So now is where I'm going to be adding more and more orange. If you want to do that, we can now go back to the palette and kind of create an orange shade that we like. Let's say, this is another technique as well and possible. We're going to create a darker shade of orange, like a darker one than what we have right now on the canvas. So there you go. I added quite a good amount of yellow and have a good amount of red on top of it. Okay. So what we will do right now is we're going to continue slowly building the orange area. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to recap on what we did. At first, we kind of drew the circle right here. And the circle right here was made out of our brush rotating around this white area. We didn't put any white paint. We actually just used the white color of the canvas, and we smoothly rotated the brush around that area. Oh, there's a little bit of paint that fell right here. And so we rotated the brush around that area, like with a smooth hand movement. And we kind of had our sun ready for the operation, okay? Once that is done, we kind of used yellow paint to start these gradients, okay? And so basically once we were happy with the yellow level, we went to the orange. So the gradient takes us all the way from yellow to red. So right now I'm building the orange section. The way I'm doing the strokes is what I showed you in the beginning. It's like little lines. The little lines are not like this straight gradient. I'm like building it. It's like almost as if I'm, how do you call it? I'm doing some embroidery. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. It's like doing some embroidery and nice, smoothly just doing lines and making sure that visually, I can't see all your paintings, but the way you decide if a gradient is good or not is your eyes need to go smoothly from one color to the other. Like right here, for instance, I have a cut of color. What I will do is I will go back with yellow, the lightest shade of the two, and I'm gonna just blend them better and do those strokes and just kind of connect the orange with the yellow so that there's no cut between them. Look at that. And then I'm sure that the gradient is smoother, and I'm sure that it doesn't look as cut as it used to in the beginning. So you always go back to an area that is not blending well with the lightest shade of the two colors. So there's a barrier between yellow and orange, I go back with yellow. There's a problem between white and yellow, I go back with white paint. Always the lightest shade of the two is the one that is going to sort out the situation, okay? So here I'm kind of fixing another gradient. So basically what I'm doing with the outer gradient, I'm continuously adding red in it. But I did it so slowly so that when I reached here, basically red needs to reach this side of the canvas. So we went from the center all the way to here in order to get the full red color. So now I'm kind of going really heavy on the red directly from the palette. Look at that, how much red I have on my brush. I'm again doing those little strokes, but I'm pulling the color, pushing the color all the way to the other side and making these lines. There you go. I'll blend it here as well with the orange to make sure that the gradient is perfect. I really like it. I constantly put the brush, I dip the brush in the water before I take my paint. And the reason why I do that, like I told you, water plays a very critical role in the blending of the colors. If there's not enough water, I can assure you that you're going to have grains and the colors will not blend well together. Sometimes it's an effect that is willingly done. Like people do want to have these rough treatment. And I've painted a lot of things where I actually, you can see like right here, like I like the raw treatment of the paint on the paper. But like right here, I think it's much better if we can blend them better and have our colors kind of smoothly transition into one another. All right. So I've reached a level where I'm kind of happy with my red. It's quite low. You can see I pushed it very, very much. What I will do right now is add a darker shade of color into this. Okay? Yes. So when do you start with your yellow color is finished? Well, you can continue with the red. It's completely fine. If you don't have yellow anymore, you can continue with the red. We might not use it afterwards if you have some green. So what I was telling you beforehand is we are going to do this darker area by using black paint, okay? But black is extremely strong as a color. So what I advise you to do is to dip the brush, the tip of the brush into the black paint, barely taking some black color, putting it on the side, and go and grab some red paint and mix them together. It's gonna give you like a nice burgundy shade, so like a darker shade of red, which is what we need, exactly what we need. So there you go, you can see. That is exactly what we need for the lower part of the canvas, okay? And I'm gonna use the same technique I've been using. I'm gonna do the strokes, just like this. What is the situation here? There's a cut between the two colors. What's the secret? We go with the lightest shade of the two. So when I'm gonna go and do that gradient back again, I will wash my brush, grab yellow paint, and blend these two guys together. I'm gonna repeat all the steps. Don't worry too much if this seems a little bit fast to you. And also there's the fact that I don't know the sizes of your canvases. So maybe some of you have like really big canvases, but you might be painting like big artworks. So that will take also more time. From my end, it's relatively medium size, so it's kind of easier to finish. And also the fact that I've painted this maybe 10 times in my life, that also makes it an easier way to finish. But it's all good. I'm gonna wait for you so that we all reach together. So don't worry too much. Just listen at every instruction once I'm moving to the next step and we'll be good. So look at what I'm doing. I'm actually filling in the lower part of the painting because now I know how the darkest shade of this canvas is going to look like the background. So basically my burgundy is what is going to make the darkest shade. But what will be the special moment is when I'm going to kind of blend them together. And that is only going to happen if I wash my brush and I go back with the red paint and I connect the red with the burgundy, just like right here. The border is nice, but we don't want to have a strong line. We don't want to have a cut. We want to have a beautiful gradient from one to the other. Again, I'm doing my little strokes. I might not even need any paint because now everything is loaded with paint. I might just need a moist brush just like this with not too much water, and just with water going over this kind of boundary between the two and blending them together. That is going to give me a perfect gradient between the two lovely shades. I'm going to just make a little bit more burgundy because I want it to be darker right here. And there you go. Again, I'm doing it stroke by stroke. You can also go back from down to up to connect it to the red. Again, always very lightly moving very nice, gently moving my hand left and right, almost like a pendulum, you know? I'm just making sure that these two colors are blending well together. And you don't want to go too up as well, because then it's going to be really dark on the top. The idea is to keep the darkest shade literally at the bottom. And you can go with a very watered black on the borders at the bottom to make sure that it's really the darkest shade that you want to have. There you go. I'm going back a little bit on the very borders with the black paint. So water black paint. and I'm kind of going over the corners at the bottom to make sure that, hey, this is my darkest shade and everything on top is more light and vibrant. All right, I think I'm happy with what I've got, and my gradient is quite smooth. It might not be the perfect gradient, but because it's going to be used as a background, it's not the foreground kind of superhero, I think we're doing okay. I'm just going to blend these guys right here. And there you go. Okay, I'm going to answer to some of the questions. Okay, so how did we make this burgundy shade? Is super easy. It's actually the last one. Yeah, it's burgundy. So I grabbed the yellow, I grabbed the red color, which I have right here. And with the tip of my brush, I used the Papa Bear. I grabbed a very tiny amount of black and I placed it in the middle of the two colors. So between the red and the black, I put the smallest amount of black ever. I went back and I took whatever I had as red paint and I blended them in the middle. Basically, it's just red and black, but the ratio between the two is going to be like 90% of red and literally just 10% of black. Once you blend them together, you're going to get this nice burgundy color. And that is the shade that is going to be used to transition with the red color. All right. Great. So what we will do right now is we're going to wait for things to get dry. Basically, we're going to connect them together. And if you're happy with your background, just leave it a bit so that it gets dry. So don't touch it too much. From my end, I'm quite good with it. We're going to maybe wait 1 minute or so that I can give you the explanation of what the other steps are. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to literally show you a technique of how we're going to do the flowers. Okay. First off, I'm going to quickly repeat how I did this gradient. Very quick recap so that everybody is in line. We started off by doing the sun. The sun and the brush was going all around this circle. So it's a circle that I traced. This is the white of my canvas. It's not white paint. With yellow, I did this circle. And as I moved bigger and bigger with my yellow circle, I started injecting drop by drop red paint in it. Obviously, when you put red in the yellow, it starts giving you an orange shade, okay? Once I was building the orange and growing with it, I realized, okay, cool, this area is good with orange. I'm gonna add more red to it, which took me to this area of the painting. And I've covered it with more red, always doing little lines. It's as if I was kind of doing embroidery around it, like little lines that are going all around the sun. Once I'm done with the red area, I created what we called the burgundy color by mixing two shades that I have on my palette right here, red and black. Don't use too much black. Just take a little piece of it, put it in the middle of the two colors and grab way more red. Like all of this was red and I put a tiny drop of black in it. Once you blend them, you get this nice purpley burgundy. You'd be surprised, but that's the pigment inside the black that gives this shade with the red color. So once I had my burgundy, I started doing the transition the same way I did with everyone else. Started doing the transition. You can do it from the bottom of the canvas to the top so that you're sure that once you reach the middle area, you have a stroke. You go back with a clean brush and red paint, and it's red that you pull in the direction of the burgundy and not the other way around. So basically by doing that, you avoid first having the black go too high in your painting. And you also make a smooth transition between the two, which is what we have right now. All right. Are we doing okay? Are we doing fine so far? I haven't been asking you much, but I'm just checking if you have questions. Yeah, mainly it's asking me about the burgundy shade and how I created it. So I hope now it's all clear for every one of you and we can move on to the next step. The next paint step that we are going to be taking is about planting the flowers. Okay, I'll explain it again. So how we're going to do the flowers is we are going to draw some stems, obviously, and then some leaves. Okay, I'm going to wait a little bit more because I'm being asked to be patient. Okay, I'm going to be patient. I'm just going to give information Just listen with your ears and I'll repeat it again, okay? It's like me telling you a story. How I did the burgundy, I did it with black and red. Okay, so I mixed red and black together. I didn't put too much black. I did put a little amount of black and a lot of red. So all this is red, and the tiny drop of black is what gave us this burgundy. And just make sure when you're kind of blending them together, if you feel like there's a stroke between the two colors, start with the burgundy. Start with the bottom of your painting. Once you made this dark shade that you have, just start from the bottom part and then slowly, slowly push the color up so that you can reach this red area. So do the opposite. Instead of going from up to down, just do the burgundy first and cover all the bottom area, like right here, almost like a rectangle. And then slowly, slowly with the same pendulum brush, like moving it left and right. Okay, you go slowly, slowly up. If you don't have white, that's a good question. You're in trouble. No, I'm kidding. I honestly don't know what to tell you because the paint requires white. If you already passed that stage, it's okay. We're not going to really need a lot of white from this point on. It's just to do some highlights. So you should be fine, I think. Okay. So what is the next step that I would really want to take you through? Okay. This is a piece of paper where I'm going to be showing you how to make the flower stem. Okay, so this is a piece of paper. You don't need to have this for the next steps. I'll be using the Papa Bear. I'll be parking Papa Bear a bit in the water. I'll be cleaning him and just removing him. You never leave a brush inside of the water bucket because it kind of distorts the hair of the brush. So when you're done using it, just make sure you clean him and just leave him to rest because he's done a lot of effort. Now he can relax. Okay? Okay. So I'll be just showing you that. I'm not going to go really fast. I'm just going to show you how we do something. So once I give this information, I'll go back to very slow motion. But just if you can focus with me one moment, and then you can all go back to where you were at the step where you were. In any case, even the stem, I'm going to be showing it to you a zillion times. So I'm doing it with a smaller brush. I called it Mama Bear, but you can call it medium brush. Mama Bear wakes up by dipping her face in the water, same way we did with Papa Bear. Okay? And for those of you who have already been in one of my other classes, I call this technique the press and release technique. So it's a technique where you actually press the brush on the paper, and as you go up, you kind of release the paint, the brush. So it's putting a pressure at the bottom of the stem, and as you're going up, you kind of remove the brush from the paper. So it's almost as if you're not touching the paper anymore. The only difference in this specific press and release is that we're not doing straight lines that go from the bottom all the way to the top, but we're doing curvy lines. So there's an extra action in this that is going to be used in order to create the flowers and to do this kind of organic, natural look to the stems themselves. So you can see they're not all very vertically standing next to each other. They're all a bit dancing and even overlapping. Like you can see this guy is going behind these two taller ones. So there's some action, okay? There's some action, there's some motion into this. I'll tell you how we can build this different perspective of some being in front of others and some being at the back. We're gonna work on it later on. But for now, we're just going to do, like I told you, everything in black. So it's as if all the flowers with the stems are fully in black color. So how does this press and release technique work? You can do it with a circular brush and you can do it with a flat brush. I'm going to show you with both. I dip the brush into the water. I will put the brush into the black paint. So now I'm kind of dipping the brush fully in the black paint. As you can see, I'm not being like a while back where I told you, you have to just grab it with the tip of the brush. No, no, no. He is literally showering in the black paint. I need to make sure that my brush is loaded and has enough water so it's not really dry, okay? So press and release functions in this way. I'm gonna do it straight first. Yes, I will, Burchak. So you press the brush
And as you go up, you kind of release the brush from the paper. So see how it looks? It's like as if I pressed it at the beginning, and when I'm going up, I'm kind of moving it on top, and I'm not touching the brush anymore. Maybe if I show you this view, you can see better. Oh no, you cannot see at all. Let's go back to this one. I'm gonna do it again, and I'm gonna show you how this looks again. This is a brush loaded with black paint, okay? We're showing you what the press and release technique is. You hold your hand like this, so the brush is going to go up, okay? And I'm pressing it, and as I am going up, I am releasing the brush, and look at that. This is if we were to make straight lines, okay? I'm gonna even show this technique to you with a round brush, just to be sure that everybody is in the same position. Right now I'm using a flat brush. Look at that, this is a flat brush. But we can also do this with a round brush, and I'm gonna prove that to you. Okay, this is my medium-sized round brush. Okay, I'm gonna dip her in the water to make sure to wake her up. And I'm gonna grab black paint. Again, being very generous with the black paint, dipping it. And I'm gonna show you how it looks. So there we go. I press, and as I go up, I kind of release the brush. So I remove my hand from the painting, from the paper. The only difference with what we are supposed to do right now is that there's an additional movement in this while we are doing this flower stems, and there's a little dance that we have to do. There's a little curving, okay? They're not steady. They have to swing in between each other and dance a little bit. So I'm going to show you how we dance in the flower language. Okay, again, we grab the black paint, press, and as you go up, you tilt the brush a bit, and you make sure that it kind of swings left and right. So the motion of the hand goes like this. It's as if I'm swinging it on the paper. So it's almost as if I'm dancing basically on the paper and doing the press and release movement together. Okay, so now is the time we're gonna do it on the canvas itself. I'm gonna do it with the round one as a start. I can do it with the flat one later on, okay? One thing you need to know when you're placing these flowers, at both ends of the painting, the flower stems are the tallest ones. So before you trace this stroke, kind of look at where you want to aim the end of the stem. So when your eye is going from the beginning to the end and you're kind of following where the brush is, it's really hard for you to know where you're going. But if your eye is already here and you're starting with your line from here, then you're sure that it's going to be effortless and very smooth for you to go there. Okay? I'm trying to give you as many techniques as possible to make your life easier. I'm going to start with the guy right here. Okay? So I'm going to press at the beginning. Okay, I need more water. It's a bit dry. Let's do it again. Okay, so I'm going to grab black paint and I'm going to press. And as I'm going up, I will release the brush into becoming super thin. There you go. Obviously, it's wobbly, right? We're not robots. It's obviously wobbly. You can always go back and adjust the stroke the way you want it. But in fact, it doesn't really matter if it's perfect. Like if it wobbles, it's even better. The reason why I asked for a small brush, remember in my list I said small brush, is exactly for what just happened right here. If your stroke is not perfect at the top and you really want to adjust that, you've got to go and take your small brush and take a bit of black paint and adjust the line right here to being perfect. So there we have the beautiful ending of our stem, perfected and kind of not too rough and smoothened basically. There you go. And this is exactly what we're going to continue doing all the way to this end. Okay, I'm going to show you again another one. So we're going to do another stem right here. I'm going to start this guy and have him go this way. And as he goes up, I want him to do this. And then I'm going to have another one right here. And this guy is going to overlap with the big one. And then he is going to go way up. There is something really fun that you can do when you're pulling the brush up, especially when you're using a round brush. You have to rotate it. So there's a little motion like this that I'm doing with my hands. You can see how I'm moving my brush. This is an extra thing that I'm doing while I'm pulling the brush up. I love how you guys are answering each other. It's amazing. Okay, so I will do it again. There's one thing also that is additional and is really cool. Some of them are the main stems, as you can see, and some are the extra additional. It's as if they're the different branches of the tree. So from a big stem, you can have smaller ones also that are coming out. And this is typically something that you can do with the smaller brush. I can also do it with the big one, but it requires a bit of control. So if you're not comfortable with it, you can definitely do it with the smaller brushes. All right. Right here, we have to add some stems, but we cannot go from the very bottom of the painting. So look at what I'm going to do. From the middle side of the painting, I will use the same technique and pull a stem that goes from the bottom all the way to the top. And I might have another guy right here that just peeks his head in, barely looking at us, you know? It just helps filling in the composition. Another thing that I was telling you a while back is to have branches. This makes the whole thing look richer. And right here, I feel there is space for that in the composition, but there's no space to plant another stem from scratch. So what I will do, I will extend this branch right here and add another green grass. Doesn't need to have a flower. It's just an additional stem that I'll be having right here. And using the same technique which we've been talking, you can continuously build all the other stems. Like I'm going to have one here, swing it all the way to the sun. Just make sure you don't go too much in Mr. Sun's area, because we kind of want to keep him have the superhero highlight. So you stop a little bit before. Can adjust the stem. We're going to have another one right here. And there you go. Again, I'll adjust the upper part in a bit. And we're going to have one that goes a bit higher all the way here. There you go. Now I'm happy with the basic ones that I've placed. So the basic big ones that I wanted to have in my composition kind of look cool. And I think I filled in the page quite well. I can go back and adjust some of them if I want the bottom part to be a bit thicker. So I'm going back with my brush and readjusting the bottom part of the stems and kind of giving it this gradient feel to it, okay? So the basic first step of filling my composition is ticked. I'm happy with it. Now what I will do as a next step, okay. What I will do as a next step is go with my smaller brush. Okay, I'm gonna go with my smaller brush and adjust everything that I have on top, which is not adjusted. That, and another thing that I will do, I will add every single smaller flowers going up from these main stems. So, like I was telling you, you can continuously add other stems. The technique is the same, right? You just do press and release. But this time you're using a tiny, tiny brush. There you go. I can pull this guy a bit higher. I would like him to go all the way here. So I'm going to just kind of extend my black stroke. You know, you can't have everything perfect in one shot when you're kind of doing things with your arms completely up. It's like very freestyle, you know? So what this little brush helps us with is to kind of go over those lines which we're not 100% convinced of and adjust them. And that's the beauty of it. So it's a mix between some controlled strokes and very spontaneous handheld strokes. And there you go. Make sure not to add too much of the black, yeah? The coat doesn't need to be too heavy, because what we need is to have this get dry pretty fast. So if the coat is too much, then it's going to take too much time to get dry. And we don't want to take too much time to get dry. We're going to be adding the other color afterwards. So just make sure that the coat is not too heavy. And if you see any excess of color, you can actually just remove it with your brush. You can just clean up and just remove the excess of color. Okay. So now I am adding some more of these extra little. I like these guys on the right, but you can see the complexity and the way things intertwine right here. I like it a lot more because it's way more natural. There's no way in nature that things are kind of like arranged like this, like soldiers. So what I will do, I will go back to this and add more natural effect to it. First off, I'm gonna make this one a little bit thicker. And then I'm going to add another branch coming out just from here and going all the way to the other side. So that way I'll add another flower at the end of the stem. It's as if from one root there were two flowers that were born, which is beautiful. Maybe I'll add another one like right here, just like this one. And this doesn't need to have a flower, it could be just a leaf. Again, we're gonna get one more here. This guy is for sure going to be a leaf. And I wanna have a leaf coming from the corner, the bottom of my painting. This guy is not a flower for sure. Okay. How many more do I wanna add? Let me see the composition. Like the way none of our paintings look the same, right? So I wouldn't be able to advise you on how many to add and be like, okay, you need to add 15 stems and 21 sub branches. No, that's not possible because all of your paintings are unique and each and every one of you has its own taste and his own way of composing things. So I'm pretty sure that none of our paintings look the same. So that's the beauty of it, for you to add your own tastes and your own spice to it. I just want to show you how I'm adding one right here, really close to the sun, just poking his head from the corner, just like we did on the other side. Okay? All right. So I'm going to fine tune this guy a little bit more all the way here. I think I'm pretty happy with the branches, and I'm going to remove the excess paint. So for you to have time to adjust these strokes and take your time into fixing them, what I will do from my end is remove the excess of paints that I have on the black colors. So anything that's too much, you can go with a clean brush and kind of go over it and remove the excess. Because sometimes, I cannot show you right here, but like there's blobs of paint. Either you remove it, or if you go just over it, it's gonna help the whole thing get dry faster. And there's two reasons why I don't want to have excess of black. First, because obviously we want things to get dry. And then second, the color that we are going to use on top of this is a very light and vibrant shade of lime green. Look at that. This lime green is never going to shine like this if there is a connection with the black. So if ever your black is not dry and they kind of blend together, then you're never going to get a lime green. You're going to get a lime green, which is a blackish lime green. That was not funny at all. So just make sure to remove all the black excess. Okay. Just want to remind you, don't forget to take pictures, yeah? I know we're all super focused, or ask someone to take pictures of you that really want to see your setups and where you're painting. I love to do that at the end. And when you're posting them on our page on Instagram, just make sure you tag us, like tag us at Let's Paint Now, or put them on Facebook. And again, tag us so that I can find you back and see what you've done. It's going to also help others see what you've done and what you've achieved. All right. I think I'm done removing all the excess paint. Don't know where you guys are at, but I'm pretty happy with the result. Just make sure if the black is really watery to go also over it with the paint, because we really want the black to be opaque. We don't want it to be very watery. So if ever, for instance, like right here, I'm doing it again, at some point the color was really watered, just make sure you go on top again and you make it darker. Somebody is raising his hand. That is really funny that you can even raise your hand electronically. Yes, I have pouring paint. It won't work. What do you suggest? What do you mean it won't work? Yes, it is a bit more liquidy. Pouring paint is way more liquidy. Just use a small just use a small amount of it. You don't need to fluid. If it's very, very liquid, you just need to kind of use a small amount of it. You don't need to have a big amount of it. I think it would be just fine. I don't have a big experience with that, but I think if you go very slowly, you should be fine. So the next step we're going to be doing right now is we're going to be doing the flowers, okay? The flowers that we have are different shapes. I'm going to go again with my little piece of paper, and I'm going to be drawing the flowers. So there's 3-4 different flowers that are in the painting, and I'm going to show you how I made them, okay? The simplest ones are, please look at it so that you all get the technique, and then you can ask me, for instance, I want to look back at this one or that one, but I'm going to show all of them to you right now. So if you can just stop what you're doing and just have your attention with me. The first type of flower is called U. So we do the U shape because we're saying, I love you, mom. So we're doing a U shape just like this, okay? And then you close it on top, just like a tulip flower. That is how my first flower looks like. And then you're gonna fill it in with paint so that it looks completely black, just like the stem. So that is the first flower that we have. The second flower that we have is a heart-shaped flower. So again, we're gonna start by doing a U shape, which you can make a little bit broader, so more open as a U shape. And then on top, you're gonna do like a heart shape. So it's a little curve that you have, but it looks like this. And there you go. That is your second flower. Okay. And then you have a third type of flower, which I'm going to show you right here, which is going to be your cloud flower, I call it. It doesn't have any specific shape. It's just like a cloud, okay? It's like a little cloud. It's a random shape, okay? A random circly shape with little bumps. You can have it bump in any place that you want. And somehow all these guys are gonna look perfectly fine together. Okay, so if you mix and match all these together, the U-shaped one, which is like this, or the heart-shaped one, which is like that, or the cloud one, which is like I did at the bottom, you're sure to be in a good position. Okay, so now we're gonna do them on our piece of paper and see how they turn out. I'm actually using the small brush just to be sure that I have control over the situation. So I'm using my small one, just like this one, okay? There you go. I'll be starting with one of the brushes, with one of the flowers that has the U shape, okay? So there you go. I'm gonna go on top of the stem and connect the flower with the stem. That is the U. And then we are going to close the flower on top and color everything in black paint. Just make sure that one thing is there, that the stem and the flower just connect together well at the top. So it's not too thin. Like if you feel that there's no way this flower can be on the stem because it's gonna for sure fall, then just make the stem a little bit thicker so it's kind of convincing that that flower can be on the stem. I'm gonna show you a second one, which is going to be my heart-shaped flower. Oh, one thing I forgot to tell you, really important, okay? Random order, there's no order. You can place them whichever way you want. One thing that is really cool is that because the sun is here, it's as if every flower was kind of leaning towards the sun. So the head, the upper part of the flowers are trying to kind of look towards the sun more or less. You know what I mean? So try to always have in mind that every flower is rotating around the sun and try to give that look because it's just going to emphasize the feeling of the sun. Yes, you can do it randomly. You don't have to follow any order. You just need to follow your gut feeling. So now I'm doing a heart-shaped one right here. I'm not doing it really big. Just want it to be close to the sun and nice and small flower right here. So this is what I meant when I meant rotated on the direction of the sun. It kind of looks like in the direction of the sun, but it's still connected to the stem. And then I'm gonna color it in black to cover all of the area. One thing that I'm gonna check at the end is to make sure that the stem area, like the connection between the stem and the flower is cool. If not, I'm gonna make it a bit thicker, just like right here, and connect my flower to the stem again. I mean, the shape is like a random heart, right? It's not necessarily a heart shape, you know? The last one is the cloud one. Look at that. It's just a random shape. Just a little cloud on top of the branch. It's a little bit more random, but again, we're gonna have to fine tune it once we add the color on top, and you're gonna see how beautiful it's gonna work. So these are the 3 shapes that I advise you to mix and match. You can use one of the shapes if you don't feel like mixing them too much. I'm personally gonna add a bit of all of them so that it's kind of a blend of all 3. Again, try not to put too much paint, because if there's too much paint, it's gonna be very hard for it to get dry. So just add an okay amount of paint so that it gets dry pretty fast and you can go on top of it with nice colors. Let's see who's asking questions. Can we do any color? Yes, you can do any color when it comes to putting the colors on top of the flowers. But ideally, if you're following the same steps that I did, it would be better if you kind of did the black at first and then add any color that you'd like on top of it. Because the color that we're gonna do the flowers on top is completely subjective. Like it's any color that you like, any color that you feel would suit your living room. For what I know, it's really personal to you. I used purple because I felt it kind of works well with the orange and yellow shades of my painting. But you can use I don't know, yellow, you can use orange, you can use any color that you feel. So for the flower, I'm gonna also be adding one right here because I feel that I need to have also some flowers that are not just on top. Okay, so I'm trying to kind of balance when I'm doing this, trying to balance between flowers that are on top and flowers that are at the bottom. Okay, so now I'm adding one at the bottom that looks like a heart-shaped one. And then I'm going to be adding a bit more right here. Wow, that's a big amount of paint. I'm going to make a random shape for this guy because I just feel like it would suit him and he would look good while looking at the sun. I always remove the excess of paint. Yeah, I'm always making sure that there's no excess and that my flower connects well with the stem. Okay, removing the excess, allowing them to get dry and remove and connect them well to the stem. So for instance, this guy has to connect better. There you go. Okay. Right now, can we do lives? What do you mean by lives? Do you mean flies? Maybe that's what you meant. I don't know what you mean by lives, but tell me again and I can help answering the question. I'm going to do another one here. This guy, from the shape of what I gave to the stem, he cannot be looking at the sun because the positioning is really twisted on the other side. So this guy is going to be like, I don't want to look at the sun. I'm going to grow on my own. I'm a big girl or boy. Yes, you can do flies if that's what you meant. You can add as many flies as you want. It's your own painting at the end of the day. If you want to paint a green elephant as well, you can do that. Literally, this is your painting. I'm just showing you what I did or how I did mine, but literally any kind of detail you don't like in it, you're not forced to follow my steps. It's one option among a million other possibilities. So please do. The whole point is for you to have fun and enjoy painting, and while maybe learning some techniques that you can use by yourself. I'm going to show you now how we're going to do the color of the stem. Okay? Now, I'm pretty happy with what I have as colors for the backgrounds. I'm going to maybe add one.
Sorry. One moment. Okay, we're gonna go back to this. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna be adding one more flower right here because I need to have a last one over here. And there you go. If you want to share your painting with me, please send it through Instagram, tagging Let's Paint Now or sharing it in my inbox, whichever way that you'd like. Like, I have no problem in any possible way. I'm open to seeing it on all potential platforms, but please don't share your screen because it's going to affect everybody's class. Okay. So here we're done with every single flower that we wanted to put on the canvas, and I'm pretty happy with the positioning of where they are. I might have a small one. Yes, you can email the painting at angela@letspaintnow.com. Another thing that I want you to know, but I don't know if you're kind of done already, but I was thinking of telling you at the end of the class. You're going to be receiving an email from us at the end of this, probably by tomorrow or the next day. And in there, you will see the registration of the new class, and you can leave some feedback. And even on that email, you can directly reply with your painting. It would be really cool. But I ideally love when people just share it on social media because that allows everyone else, every participant, to also see what they've done. And again, we have so many cool participants that are on YouTube that cannot see what you guys are painting. So that will be also another way to share it with everyone else. All right, guys, here I am. Hello. So basically, I'm now done with all the stems and I did all the black areas. I've planted the stems and drew all the way to the top, and I've added all the flowers. In my composition, I made sure that I've covered almost all the areas around the sun, okay? It's okay if at the bottom I only have stems, it's totally fine. But make sure that it's quite populated. And if you feel like there's an empty area, let's say right here, just have another stem that goes up from there and just add another flower. Every area that you feel has a little gap is an area worth exploiting. It's an area worth adding a flower because it's going to just make it look more happy and more vibrant at the end of the day. Okay? So right now I'm just waiting for things to get a bit dry. All right. So what we're going to do now is remove a bit of some of the excess. Yeah, I'll be showing you what the next class painting is, but not now, at the end of our class. So you have to hang in there if you want to break the mystery. I love how everyone is... Okay, so the YouTube channel is called Let's Paint Now as well, like everything else. So you can subscribe there and watch me live if you feel like it. Okay, let's go back to our painting. And we are going to do the greens now. Look at that. You see how vibrant and how strong the colors are? So basically what we would want to do right now is to make sure that we don't blend the black and the colors together. So it's really important that you make sure that this is dry and that there's no other blobs of painting that is black and connective to the lime green. What are we going to do now? We're going to create this color. I'm going to show you how we're going to create it. And we're going to go on top of these black strokes that we did. The only important thing that you really need to keep in mind is that you need to leave a little bit of space around it so that the color that you're adding is at the center of the stem. So there's always this very nice border showing all around the stems and the flower area as well. I'm not covering all of it. I'm just putting the paint around it. So always leaving this black stroke appear is what is going to give this kind of value to the painting. One more thing which I promised you in the beginning is to show you how some are in the front and some are in the back. So some stems are going to look as if they are in the back of others. How do you do that? It's very easy. Let's say I traced this one. Once I'm about to trace another stem and I want this guy to go in the back of the first one I drew, what I will do is I will stop at some point.
I will stop at some point and leave a black stroke, a black border between the two, and start back again on the other side. Of course, I will show you a sample right here so that we can actually make it together. Another color that you need to add in your palette right now is blue, because in order to make green or even lime green, we need to add some blue. So make sure you add some blue in your palette and have it ready. If your water is too black and it's too dirty, just make sure you change it or you use another bucket, because that's the way we're going to be able to do the lime green. If the water is dirty, then the lime green is not going to be looking okay, because that's really a light shade. So you have to make sure that everything is super clean so that the color remains vibrant. I'm even going to tilt the area of my towel so that I don't use some black paint from before. I'm going to put it in another position, and that way I make sure that there's no black in it. Okay, so how do we make lime green? I have some yellow right here, and I have some blue. I will take a piece of that blue, and I will mix it with all the yellow that I have left on my palette. There you go. As I am mixing, I took a really small amount of blue, and there I have a very nice lime green. I'm going to be very honest with you. This is my favorite color ever. If you feel that the green is not very light and it's not as light as you wanted it to be, what you can do is grab some more yellow and add it next to, if you already have lime green, oh yeah, by all means, that's super practical. If you have lime green, just pour it on your palette and wait for me, girl. You don't need to hurt yourself in blending it. But I'm showing it for those of you who don't have lime green, okay? So I'm kind of making it a bit lighter. So I'm blending it with more yellow. And there I have a nice lime green. So I have all three shades, a darker lime green, a medium lime green, and full yellow. And here, not too far from me, I also have white, which is going to allow me to do really light shades. Let's start with this one, okay? So I'm gonna do the same press and release technique, but I'm gonna just make sure that I'm staying in the middle area of, I'm staying in the middle area of the black that I drew so that it doesn't actually overlap from side to side. I want to keep that border. I want to keep that effect. So don't push the color all the way to the end. It requires a lot of attention, and it's like a very, I'm using the small brush. Forgot to tell you. I'm using the baby brush because this is a very detailed work. So here is what I was telling you a while back. If I grab this one and I kind of use it as a stem that is going straight forward all the way to the top, okay? Then anyone that wants to go and move back from it, this is how I will represent it. This is the one that is going straight up. Look at this guy. This guy is gonna pass in the back of the other one. So here I'm going to leave some black, and I will do it this way so that it kind of looks like this guy is going backwards and it's kind of continuing on this side. So I left purposely some space between the two. In that sense, it kind of showed me that they're detached and there's one on top of the other. So they overlapping, okay? If there's some black on your brush, make sure you wash it again, yeah? And then I'm gonna finish off my lime green area right here. And what I will do, because I started it and I'm kind of telling you, hey, I'm going in the back of this color, I will continue on this side by leaving again some space, okay? So the guy that has the full stem is the one that's walking up front. But the one that's going in the back is the one that has his broken stroke, because I'm showing you that he is going in the back. There you go. We'll have to adjust this one as well because there's a flower on top, but that's pretty much how you make it seem that one is on top of the other. And this is how you're going to fill in with the same lime green all of the branches, okay? Now you don't need to pull this color all the way to the top as well. That's also another secret that I have to tell you. So you can stop at some point. Look at that. I like it when it stops a bit before the end. I'm gonna leave a bit of black when it's becoming really thin right there. I might just go back a bit on top of this one to make sure that it's quite well covered, okay? And I will add this little one that's coming out from here as an extra stem. There you go. You see how it's done? Okay, there's so many questions. Okay, what brush? I can do green because I'm coloring. Yes, you can do green. How do we make this color? You mix blue and yellow together. The ratio is very little blue and a lot of yellow. And I was going to tell you one more thing. Because you can have variations of that green, you can also create a darker shade of this lime green on the side. Like I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to do a little bit of a darker shade right here. It's not anymore a lime green. It's like a green. And from time to time, I could be adding some strokes that are darker green. So look at that. I can do this one because he's like way to the back. I can do it with a darker shade of green, and it's pretty because it looks like it's a different distance from the first one already, you know? Green is made out of yellow and blue. Okay, so you just need to blend them together with a clean water. So look at that. It might look a bit too dark at the beginning, but what we will do afterwards, we're gonna add highlights to it. So look at this branch. It's like a darker shade of green. I personally like it, but what I will do later on, maybe I might go with a lighter shade and just add a little touch to it, you know? So it's gonna look like it belongs to the same stem. Can connect them from here, and there you have a beautiful connective stem. So this is how we're gonna continue and color all of the stems, constantly thinking we have to leave a little bit of space, on the distance between the branch and the black stroke. You constantly have to keep that in mind, not to cover it from border to border. And what you need to do is to think about what branch comes before the other one. So it's a whole scenario of who's coming on top of which one. So here again, I'm not going to push it all the way to the top. I should stop it right here. I'm going to pull the color from here all the way down. Sometimes, by the way, in this specific scenario, it's easier to kind of pull the color from the top to down, which is a bit the opposite of what we did when we traced the black. When we did the black, we did press and release from bottom all the way to the top. But sometimes, and it's actually almost always the case when you're doing thinner strokes, you'd be much better off tracing them from the top to the bottom, just like I'm doing right now, because it gives you more control over the strokes. And since they're very thin lines, it kind of makes your life easier also to kind of connect things together. So test it. Test a few scenarios, the bottom to the top, top to the bottom, and see which one works best for you. You could do the greens in different shades, like I was telling you at the beginning. You can do them darker, lighter. It's literally up to your taste. You can do really what you want. I personally like it when we mix a bit of different greens together. Another nice thing, which I was telling you, a technique, is to leave some black strokes. Like black is like the base of our painting, right? So having these black strokes are really what are bringing the life out of the stem. So just make sure you have some of it. And if you want to go on top of the green several times, just make sure that it's dry as the first layer, like I'm doing. Look at that. Going up to down, leaving the strokes on the side. And I'm doing it with a very lime greeny, okay? But what I will do for sure, in order to add some excitement to the green, I'm going to go back on top of it with a darker shade, and I'm going to add some different variations or different tones to it, okay? So here it is. There you go. And I'm going to connect it to the mother stem. Here it is. So slowly, you're going to see your painting. It is blending with black. Okay. So when it's blending with black, there's two ways of handling this. Either you take a paper towel and very subtly dry out your black first and then connect the green again. Or you just wait a little bit. You can just wait and go to another stem that is dry. Like personally, when I'm seeing that some of them are still shiny, you can see I'm not doing them one after the other because I'm still seeing that some of them have some shine, which means that they're not dry, which means that I should not be touching it right now because it means that it's just too blacky. So I'm just going back to another stem until that one gets dry, and I can subtly touch with my hand and see if it's dry, and then I'll go back to coloring it. But literally test different shades of green. You're gonna love the effect at the end when it's like several shades combined together. You can also use the scenario, be like, no, I just want all of it to be one layer. Once you're done with that one layer and you've covered all of them, maybe you might want to go back over let's say you did it with the lime green. You might want to go back over it and just add other gradients to it. So like I'm doing right now, I'm doing a very nice lime green stroke. And then when I'm happy with it and it's kind of dry, I can still go and grab a little darker shade and kind of connect with this one. So it's going to add a bit of how do you say it? A bit of excitement, honestly. Like here, for instance, okay, I'm going to use this first one to be at the front. So I want this small stem to be on the front of the big guy, who's this one. So this front one is going to be lighter. Everything that's closer to you, everything that's more front, let's say, has to be a lighter shade. Everyone that is in the back, when you're doing the careful exercise of seeing who's on top and who's down, everything that is in the back is obviously a little bit darker. Okay? So you can see already slowly, my painting is kind of coming together, but it's not done yet because I really want to go back and add some other shades. Also make sure, because you've created the paint a while back, that it's getting dry. In order to flow well on top of the black, you constantly need to add water, but not too much, so that it doesn't blend also with the black. And there's also one thing, I really don't know what paint you guys are using, so I can't really know if your blacks are going to get dry fast or not, because it also depends on the quality of the paint that you're using or the nature of the paint that you're using. But in any case, the technique is that if you're looking at it and it's still shiny, don't go there. Don't jump in that water. Just wait for it to be dry and just do it afterwards. It's really hard to make a light shade color on top of a dark one if the dark one is not dry. So here I am finishing this big stem right here, and I'm going to go back to the area that initially wasn't really dry, which is the left part right here. I'm going to go back there. So I had this little guy. Okay, what have I done? Okay, good. I'm going to go back to my screen. All right. Okay, so you have to cover all of them one by one. Yeah, so you have to make sure that everything is, all the stems are covered. And if they're not, just wait for them to get dry and go over them. I'm done. Also me, perfect. You guys are so fast. Okay, I'm running after you. At first you were like, you're too fast, get slower and everything. But I believe you don't have as many flowers that I have, did you? That's why you're done. I'm willing to bet that. Okay, I'm almost done. I need literally 1 minute and I will be with you. Basically, the color that we will be doing, I can verbally explain to you. Good job, you guys. You're so fast. The color that we will be doing later on to do the flower is purple. But like I told you a while back, I'm going to be doing purple. But if some of you first don't like purple, or they feel that the purple doesn't work with them and they don't want to put it in their room in purple, you can use any color that you like. Like maybe some of you will be like, no, I want to do a blue flower. Or no, I'm going to do a pink flower. Or maybe no, I'd rather just have, I don't know, for that, an orange flower that blends with the background. I don't know what you would like to have, but I want you to be happy with the final result. So just use any color that would make you happy and grab that. If you don't have it already made in the tubes of your colors, then we'll have to mix it. From our end, we're gonna make purple, and purple is a color that doesn't exist in my palette. So I will have to create it. So for those of you who don't have purple, you have to prepare for me some red color and some blue color. You don't need to put too much. You don't need to put too much in the blue color because we don't need too much of it. We need another 15 minutes and we will be done, for whoever is asking. 15 minutes and we will be done with all of it. All right, I'm done. I'm done with everything that's STEM related. Okay, so I'll be creating now the, okay. Running out of the battery. Can you put a charger? Yes, you can do colorful flowers. Maybe you can add a battery to the machine. Okay. Oops. All right. So we're gonna create the purple. There you go. You can use 2 colors, 3 colors, as many colors as you want. I'm lacking some red, so I will be adding some red right next to the blue. Oh, you can do anything you want. You can add a pattern, you can do multiple colors, you can add, like I was telling you, add a green elephant if you want. Like literally anything that excites you, just do it. All right, so this is my red. I'm gonna be adding some blue into this red. Okay, be careful not to add too much so that it still remains purpley, okay? So I'm mixing them very slowly and I'm just making sure not to add too much blue at one shot, because if I add too much, then I'm sure I cannot go back because the blue is really powerful as a color. All right, now I have this very nice purple. You can see it. It's way more vibrant than the burgundy we had at the beginning. But then it's not done. At the beginning of the class, I told you to put some white on the side, and that's where the white comes in. The purple that you created, you can mix it as one part of it. So have a part of it that you keep it in the purple, dark purple that we created, but a certain amount of it blended with white, because it's good to always have 2 shades of the color that we're gonna do the flower with. So basically there's 3 shades we are going to take care of for the flowers. We're gonna use purple, we're gonna use a lighter shade of purple, and we're going to be adding some white at the end for the highlights. Another thing that would be cool, but I'll tell you at the end, is to add fresh color touches. Like it could be some red or some blue, but that will only happen at the end. So what I will do right now, I'm gonna take Mama Bear, because I like doing these kind of things with a flat brush. I'm gonna take Mama Bear, this flat brush, there you go. And I'm gonna use, like I told you, I have 3 shades: light purple, dark purple, or a medium good purple, and then I have white. I'm gonna start with the darker shade of purple that I have right here. And I'm gonna cover in the same way we did with the leaves. I'm gonna cover the flower area. But hey, can you, while you're covering this area, leave a little dot at the top that would be the center of my flower in black? So the same technique we used at the beginning when we left it white for the sun is what you need to do in order to have a circle at the center of the flower. Okay, so here it is how I did it. So it's like an oval, but the oval shape, the black one, is the black already that you have drawn. It's okay if it's gonna look like one shade. All you need to do is to do the same technique with all of them. So here I'm gonna be adding this, and at the top part, I'll be just closing it. And there you go. Some of them will be a little bit more circular, some are going to be more oval, and you have to do the same for all of the flowers, just following the shape that you created, but just filling in the internal part of the flower. Okay, some people are telling me I don't like my painting, what to do? It's not dramatic. I mean, this is not the first painting nor the last painting you will be doing in your life. And if you want, this video is going to stay. No, you can't. You cannot share the screen, my love, because this is going to affect 150, if not 80 people that are watching. So they'll be watching you instead of me. So don't share your screen. So what I'm saying for the painting, and you don't like your painting, I firmly recommend not to get disappointed or anything, but for me to be able to reach at a level where I actually create paintings and I like them, it took me years and years and years of experience. And up until today, sometimes I do paintings and I just trash them because I don't like them. So it's very normal for you not to like sometimes what you did, and you shouldn't be disappointed. You can go grab another piece of paper and try again. It's not the end of the world. I had a teacher that said, you're a great painter if you have more garbage than real paintings done. So he used to tell me that if you want to become a great painter, you have to throw more papers than actually do great canvases. So there you go with your answer. So it's great if you don't like your painting, actually. That's the moral. That's the moral of my story, guys. It's great not to like your painting. I'm just kidding. I think that's what happens when you've been talking for 2 hours. But yeah, so I was going to tell you that first, this video is going to stay on YouTube. I'm still hesitant about keeping them because I don't like watching myself again, and they don't look amazing when you watch them on YouTube afterwards, after the class. But in any case, a lot of you are asking for that to be kept, so I will keep it right there. So the video of this painting alongside with what we did last week is going to be on YouTube for a while. So if you want to paint it again, then it's super easy for you to go back and at your own pace and time, just open YouTube and just relax, put some good music and draw it again if you want to perfect it. So that would be my advice to you if you don't like your painting. And if you don't want to do this one, then it's perfectly fine. Maybe it wasn't the right painting for you, or you just didn't like it completely. We can paint something else next week. What is the name of the channel? The channel is called Let's Paint Now on YouTube. You can subscribe to it because we're going to soon be doing videos of tips and tricks and showing you how to do some things or how to avoid some mistakes that most of us do. So we're going to be using that channel a lot in the coming weeks. So subscribe and make sure that you're there to know what we are doing or what we are offering. Okay. I was also mentioning, if you arrived late, that I would love to have you tag us on Instagram or any other platform where you put your drawing, so that other people can also see, because these classes are free for now, and so it would be great for them to gain some visibility and people know about us. If of course you enjoyed it. If you're like, oh my god, this is the worst class ever, don't share it. But I really, really hope you had a good time. So I'm finishing off, as some of you were like, oh my God, where are the flowers? I'm finishing off fast. I don't know if all of you are following, but I'm finishing my flowers and putting the coat, the coat underneath all the other purple shades and covering all my flowers with it. They don't have the vibrant shades of my final painting just yet, because obviously the final painting is not one color. So this one looks still a little bit dull because it's just one shade of purple, but you're gonna see a huge difference once I add all the other vibrant shades on top of it. Angela, what is the color combo for lime green? Okay, the link of the channel. Yeah, thank you, Christia. You're very sweet. What is the color combo for lime? Lime green is made out of yellow and blue, but the secret for that is to use, do you see here? There's a huge amount of yellow that I put and only a tiny drop of blue. So the secret for this green to be a lime green is basically, you have to think of it as if it's just a yellow. It's not an actual green combination. You're gonna think of it as if it's a yellow to which you actually added just a tiny drop of blue. You're not gonna make a full blend of yellow and blue together, because you really would get a blend that's too dark, and that's not where you wanna go. So like I said earlier, having variations of colors, you can go back like I'm doing right now. You can go back and add different shades while my purple is actually getting dry, and add different shades of green on top of it. And that will add just a little bit more excitement on top of what you've already created. All right, so now your purples are supposed to be a bit dry. And we're gonna go back on top of this and add a lighter shade of purple. So we're gonna grab more white right here, and I'm gonna mix it with the initial shade of purple that I had. Okay, so I'm gonna mix it with this shade, and it's gonna give me an even lighter, a lighter shade of purple. So on top of this, because the light is hitting mostly the top of my canvas, of my flowers, I'm gonna add literally just on top of it, some nice white shades, like right here. I'm basically turning the light on. That's what I'm doing. I'm turning the light on in order to show that there is a top area. There's a top area to the flowers. So basically I'm adding shades of whitish purple, and I'm kind of adding also volume to the flowers as I'm doing that. I'm using a flat brush again, but you could be using anything that you want. Okay, there you go. And you can do that on all the flowers. But one thing that I want you to keep in mind is that the light is coming from where? From the sun. So what you need to think of when you're putting the highlights is that the light has to come from the direction of the sun. You can obviously add it anywhere else you'd like, but it would be way more believable or like coherent as a painting if you actually add it from the direction of where the sun is coming. Okay? Okay. You guys are chatting with each other. You all became friends already. That's amazing. 100 people meeting each other. Okay, so I'm adding some white. If you just covered the black at the center, just like I did right here, don't you worry. Okay, I did it also right here. It's totally fine. What I would like you to do is to go back and grab some paint, black paint, and then add this black circle again. So it's very easily retouchable. So you just need to grab some black paint and to add it again into the center of the flower. And you can do the same for all of the ones that you feel have lost their central piece, okay? So right now I'm adding the lights. I'm adding the light shades. So I'm going with white and putting these shades right here. But there's another thing that I can do. I can go and create a bit of pink, a light shade of red. Thank you, everyone. You guys are thanking me. Don't go, stay with me. Yes, thank you. So you can stay here. Stay here until we take a picture. We're gonna take a class picture in a moment. How do I get the purple? So the purple, I got it by mixing red and blue together. Okay, so what I'll be doing right now, red and blue together, yeah. And I added white in it. So right here, red and blue, I add this purple and I added white to it in order to get a lighter shade of purple. But right now, I'm creating a pink shade. So I'm mixing white with red. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I want to add some extra shades, just little touches, right? Here and there to the painting. Even when I mix it with my purple, like have a little bit of more red in the purple and add extra touches that are going to bring some life or some vibrancy to the flowers. Look at that. It changes really everything. So my base coat is the main purple, which is a roughly dark shade of purple. So it's a good blue and red. But as I build it, I'm adding lighter shade and I'm adding more red to it. So it's really fun how you see these flowers come to life and actually become more and more vibrant. This is how I'm adding the red shades to it. I'm gonna do the colors that didn't blend properly. Are we talking about the colors of the gradient underneath, or are we talking anything about the flowers? So what I'm doing right now for the flowers, I had my purple base coat, then I added light shades on top. I'm just recapping the steps of the flower. I'm just adding the red shades. And as I go, I'm kind of adjusting where I feel there needs to be a bit of light and adding more shadows where I feel there needs to be a bit more shadows. Constantly, what I'm keeping in mind is like the shades of light are coming from the sun. So I need to keep that area lit and strong because that's where the sun is coming from. Everything else you can retouch with any other shade. So if the grade you're talking about the gradient underneath, it really doesn't matter. It's like a base coat if you want to the painting. So it's okay if it doesn't look really, really smooth. Right now, and there we go. I think I'm pretty happy with my results. So I'm going to stop because usually when you do too much, you tend to kind of go the other way. All right, I think I'm pretty happy with how it looks like. The flowers are quite cool. They're vibrant. They're full of 2-3 shades of purple. What if we are doing blue instead of purple? What can you replace red with? Okay, if you are doing blue, in order to have some different shades going on top of the flower, you can do some lime green on top. Actually, that's a very good question. If you're doing the flowers in blue, just try adding a bit of lime green and you'll see how amazing it's going to look. Just add lime green on top of the blue. And you can also do obviously lighter shades of blue. So it's going to be a mix of different shades of blue. The base is a darker shade of blue, and then you go back with a lighter shade, just like we did with our purple. And then you can also add different touches, just like we did with the red. You can be adding some lime green. So the reason why I add other touches is because somehow it brings the painting all together when you have colors from the background that kind of pops back in on the foreground. And that is a technique that works all the time, because that's a way to combine the back and the front together and unite them and kind of give this unified look to the whole painting. All right. I think I'm quite happy with the results, and it's kind of come together quite well. You can obviously always retouch the stems, and you can add darker shades of green at the bottom. So like have a bit of retouch right here. Like you can add a bit of darker shades of green, like at the bottom to the top. Now I'm going on top of my lime green and adding the last final touches. Not everywhere, but like to some areas. Just there you go. I'm gonna add a bit here. And then a bit right here. So basically we're done with all the steps of the painting, and I hope you had fun and you enjoyed it. What I will be doing next is something that I love doing, and I'm gonna do it right now. I'm gonna peel the Scotch tape around it so that you can see how this looks like a finished painting. And maybe if you like it, you can use it next time you join our class and prep your painting ahead of time so that you're actually ready. So it's super easy. When you peel the painting Scotch tape, it will do this miraculous white frame around it that is like a finished product. So it's as if you're done and you've kind of framed it already, and it looks like it's ready to go on the wall. There you go. Look at that. I really love the white frame more than the painting, maybe. It just excites me so much every time. Please don't go. We need to take a class picture. 92 people all together. Okay, YouTube people, do not forget to send me pictures of you and your paintings. And Zoom people as well. There you go. This is my finished product. Woohoo! I'm super happy with it. So this is how the original one was looking. It never looks the same. Look at that when they're next to each other. They don't even look the same because you're just a different person painting a different painting. So even the one in the back that I have doesn't look the same. So this is the one I did today. I'm pretty pleased with the result. I can even smell the flowers. And this is what was dedicated to the moms out there. Okay, so if you're not done with your painting, you can take your time in kind of finishing the final steps. And I will also take the time to send through a couple of messages. So do not forget to, hi, I'm back. So don't forget to like us on Instagram, to follow us on Instagram and Facebook, and to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're going to be posting a lot of things there. Instagram is our daily platform where we're very, very active, and Facebook is the place where we actually post the photo albums of the class. So we will be posting pictures from the stuff that you guys send me. I'll be trying to gather as many pictures as I can and create an album that I'll call Thank You Mom with the date of today, and I will post it on Facebook. So make sure to follow us on Facebook as well, so that you get to see the album and you get to see what other people have done. One final thing that I wanted to tell you is thank you, because it's always a blessing to be able to share knowledge with so many people, and it's so much fun to just stay at home at the comfort of my studio and be able to talk with so many people in the world and share some love with all of you. So I'm very, very blessed. So thank you all of you for being part of the class. You will be also receiving an email, a thank you email from my end, which will allow you to maybe leave some feedback if you want to change anything in the class or you felt that it can get improved. Or you can also send me your pictures back by replying to that email. You'll also see the next week's painting in it. I'm not sure, do I show it to you or not? Do I keep it secret? Maybe I'll keep it secret. What do you think? Just to like kind of tease you a bit more. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it secret. I'm not gonna show you. So, so basically, I want to do something. Just I'm gonna go back and take a picture of the whole class. So if you can just all hold your paintings in front of the canvas and just make sure that it's showing and that I can see your face and I can see your painting, so I can connect both of you together. Okay, so we're going to be taking the picture right now. So make sure that you all hold your paintings. Oh wow, you're already ready. Amazing. Okay, great. So we're going to start with the first page. Hold your paintings, wait for me. Okay, I'm going to wait 1 more minute. It's okay if it's not complete. Just turn on your cameras, whoever is not yet here. Yeah, just hold it. Okay, I'll think about it if I show you guys the painting from next week. Hello, lovely people. Give me a big, big smile. Hannah, quick, quick, quick. We're shooting the picture. Where's your painting, Hannah? Quickly. Stay there, guys, stay there. Lenny, have her hold the painting. Come on. Okay, good. 1, 2, 3. Stay there, okay? I'm just shooting page by page because that's 4 pages of picture. Give me your biggest smile. Give me your biggest smile. Wow, they look awesome. Okay, cool. And then the final page. Wow, mommy's painting with the daughter. That is really cool. Okay, I'm gonna do one more from the first page because I got Lenny back. Okay, cool. Thank you so much, guys. They look awesome. YouTube people, I love you all. And I hope I'll get to meet you next time through Zoom. And you can follow me and get some feedback from us live. Thank you so much. And I cannot wait to see you next week. I don't know if I show you or not. Do I show you? Okay, I'm gonna show you. Khalas, you're asking too much. Okay, there we go. A very quick sneak peek of next week's painting. We will be painting this because it's the end of Ramadan. Finish. I'm sure you can pause it on YouTube. So we'll be painting a nice sunset on a balcony. It's called Contemplation. And so, yeah, can't wait to do that with you. It's a tricky one, but we're going to have some fun. So don't forget, follow us on Insta, Facebook, send me your pictures, bombard me with any email that you want. I love to receive anything from you guys, and have a great, great weekend. Bye-bye. See you soon.